Welcome to the Glacier Gable podcast. We are back with another Agatha all along episode 4 discussion this time, and let's just get this out of the way. We're gonna just get the awkwardness out of the way. Everybody looked hot this episode. We couldn't help it. They were like, all right, we get it. It's a bunch of hot witches. It's been fairly subtle, but we're gonna put it in your face this episode. It was just, we're going to get that out of the way. Everyone looked hot. Start for Joe Locke, Agatha, all of them. Everyone.
It's
Patty
just a fun
LuPone,
get up,
they all
dude.
looked good. Yeah.
It's just a fun get up. You can't complain about it. My plants are all fucking.
And just like we thought, it was a music episode. I mean, the title of the episode gave it away. We said last week, okay, that means it's going to be the Red Witch. And that's what it was, except it was a plot twist this time around. We thought this whole time, the mom was, neglectful and she like hated her mom and then
abandoned almost.
Yeah, but then they realized that it was actually a protection spell. So this trial was dealing with the witch that cursed her mom and her bloodline. And defeating that curse, which I thought was, at first I was like, oh, this is kind of dumb. And then they revealed the curse and it was like an actual, like if it was just like
an actual demon.
Right. Like I thought they were just going to sing the song and I was like, that's so dumb. But then it was like actually exercising the demon.
Literally like a, it looked like the freaking monsters from The Descent, but with hair. Like that's what it reminded me of.
And claws and wings.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of like that. They had like a little bit of the like not wing, but like underarm kind of webbing kind of thing. But
yeah, you don't have that.
Yeah. What?
You don't have that?
Well, I do, just not on my like upper body. So yeah. I don't know. I was kind of shocked to see that. It kind of seemed out of place too, because it's just like it not out of place, but like it didn't do much, but like stay perched. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, until it like flew over to her and then perched on her shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, it also almost killed Teen.
Yeah.
Technically, because it threw him through a window and then the glass went inside of him. And
right.
The rumor, we talked about Aubrey Plaza's character. And
can we just talk about how we predicted it was going to be the Red Witch first, and we were right. Because we talked about that a little bit last week. We were like, she's going to be the first one to kind of go, is what we thought. We were wrong about her like dying, but like, yeah, we were like, she's going to be the first one to go, and we were kind of right. I mean, it was kind of like her trial, I guess, but it's a trial for the coven. But I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. She was first.
Yeah, we thought that she would die in the trial, but we definitely knew, even without the title, we knew she'd probably be next. And then we got the title of the episode. I was like, okay, yeah, she's next.
Yeah.
I think so. Aubrey Plaza's character, the rumor is that she may be Death.
Yeah, Lady Death. Yeah.
Which was kind of given away because Agatha looked at her and said, "Don't." Direct as Teen was dying,
like don't take him,
right?
Yeah,
or like
I noticed that, right?
Yeah, like don't,
right. Yeah, don't. Yeah. I saw that too. I saw that too, and I was like, because she looked at him like, don't go, like, please don't get, like, don't be critical, and then she looked right at Rio and was like, don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, then, so I think that they're kind of hinting that that's who she is. However, there was another, if you had captions on this episode, I don't know if people are talking about this yet, but if you had captions on this episode, you saw something that was different than anybody that might have just been listening. I had captions on because I have ADHD, and without captions, I can't hear.
Right.
She talked about how Aubrey talked about how
Rio
talked about to Agatha how magic doesn't decide, or like magic has a reasoning for everything or whatever.
Sure.
Well, when they talk about magic, it's just spelled normal. Everything's fine. In that moment, magic was capitalized and had a K at the end.
Yeah. I mean, you could also think of
Ilyana
Ileana.
Rasputin.
Yeah, but she just has a K as well.
Yeah.
So, but I did notice that, but I also was like, like, you can also you could make that connection to like limbo and like the dark places of the world. But yeah, I noticed that. But magic has just a K, not a CK. But yeah, it was capitalized as in like
I'm just
right,
saying.
right,
Because I know in like traditional Wiccan, like the Wiccan religion or the Wiccan practices, magic is spelled Magick. So it's
sure,
like at first I was like didn't think anything of it because I was like, oh, this is they're just being more not traditional, but I can't. I'm blanking on the word, but they're just being more true to what it would actually be if they were witches in a coven. Like, oh,
sure,
that's how they would spell it.
sure,
But then I was like, they would. It was capitalized though. So I'm wondering if that's because it's a female led show, and bringing in Mephisto would be like, oh, it's a female led show, but it's a overarching male that we care about.
right, sure.
Um, so while he was mentioned, I'm thinking it's possible that limbo, darkness, bad, something like a
Dark dimension. Then
yeah.
what else did they mention? She said vengeance
Because isn't
in
is
this
magic
episode.
would you consider magic a villain or hero?
She's a hero.
So do you think they would flip her to like a villain for this sort of thing, or
I think she could be.
right? And like Rasputin is traditionally evil.
Right. I think she could be. But I also don't think this would be the place for it.
Yeah,
I
see, that's what
think
I
it
was
would
thinking
be in
about.
like a I don't know, like Ghost Rider. She would I don't know if they want to kind of combine limbo and the dark dimension and stuff like that, but like if magic came face to face with Ghost Rider and you're following Ghost Rider, then like she'd be the villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so I don't know if um, taking me back to when they said vengeance, I was like, okay, I'm also thinking like Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Like
Sure.
so yeah, there's like little like their word choices maybe on purpose, and maybe an accident, but like we notice the little changes and things because we have no life. But
Yeah, for sure. We have zero life.
right, so
I
um,
so before
I don't think it would be magic just because I don't think the mutants are coming quite yet. Like they're here, but they're
right.
not here. You know what I mean?
So
So
do you think they just capitalized it for no reason?
um, well, with the C in there, that I mean, it's referencing something, obviously, like something that needed to be capitalized, whether it's like the old form of magic in general, or if it's talking about someone or referencing something, or
Okay. Well,
I
yeah,
don't know, but
maybe they were just being more respectful to traditional Wiccan, I guess, but
right,
who knows?
right.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
noticed that too, and I thought about it for a second, but then
got
yeah, I decided,
distracted.
yeah, yeah. It was, I mean, as soon as Rio popped up, I was like, all right, Luke's gonna love this episode.
I mean, yeah. So like, okay, so obviously when they said that they were gonna bring in a backup Green Witch,
Another thing we called, by the way,
that she's the
um,
Green Witch.
that she was gonna eventually join the team later on,
Well,
and
yeah,
she'd be the Green Witch, but
she'd even if you didn't predict that, I mean, I felt like that was so obvious. Like, that's not even
right,
like a prediction. That's just like we
yeah,
just know.
right, right,
Um, when she popped up out of like out of the ground,
sure.
I paused it and I went, ooh, and my wife was like, what? And I was like, she's here. And she looked and my wife just goes, oh, she's hot. And I was like, God, like when we watch Parks and Rec,
No, no, she isn't.
well,
Why are
like
you holding your
she
pants down?
knows. Um, my wife loves
My
women
wife.
with like big like big round eyes, and
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza's got big
Yeah,
round
ours are
eyes.
popping. Yeah, for sure.
Um, Amanda Seyfried is another one my wife is just
Sure. Yep.
obsessed with. And but when she came out, I was like, oh,
Oh,
she's hot, and I was just like, yep, she's also very cool, like because she's psychotic, and those are the best characters. Like acting, that's got to be the most fun to
I
play.
I was talking to someone from our guild in World of Warcraft, and I said that my favorite character is the charismatic psychopath.
Yeah,
That's my favorite kind of character. So this is literally like Rio should be my favorite character, but like I still think it's Joe Locks. But
sure.
yeah, Rio like I tend to go towards those characters.
Yeah,
So
she made me chuckle out loud a few times, like right
right.
away, and I was like, "Yep, I love it already." She's so cool. Like when she says she's a psycho, and she just looks at her and like smiles and nods. That was very Aubrey Plaza, but also very like this character's so great, so
Sure.
great. And obviously, we have it confirmed. We have confirmed this episode that her and Agatha were an item,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Rio, most likely being death, had to take or kill somebody or maybe trade their soul for something that hurt
Or
Agatha, potentially like
um
her son.
her son, yeah. I was gonna say. She once again, we kind of or how they wanted us to believe is that Joe Locke's character or teen was her son, and then straight up Rio was like, it's not.
See,
Like,
but
yeah,
that's
she's
the
like,
thing.
yeah,
She
I know
said
you're
that's not your boy. Like that boy is not yours. That doesn't mean that that's not her son.
sure,
That just means that like his soul could probably still be owned by whoever her boss
sure,
is.
right,
Like, oh, by the way, like, yes, that's your son, but no, the deal that we did that you hate me for with your son is still in place, and he's still Mephisto's.
yeah, right,
So like I think that Mephisto laid the sigil on him. Death being Rio most likely like had to swap the soul of the son for the Darkhold for something along those lines.
sure,
Um and because of that he's still owned by Mephisto. That's like still him. Um
sure.
and so when she said he's not yours, I definitely was like no, that's her son.
So
And
you think it's going to be Billy Kaplan, but with the essence of Nicholas Scratch,
yes.
not Billy Maximoff?
Yeah, I feel
Sure,
like that's where they're heading.
sure.
Um, and it could be a mixture. Like it does. Like it could be a mixture of those where it's just that's how they change this
Either
character.
way, yeah, and it's fine if they, the MCU is retconned differently. I'm fine with
Imagine
that.
if
I'm
you
sure
combined
though.
a Maximoff, like if Agatha and Wanda now have a connection too, like that'd be a
Sure,
huge change.
sure,
Now if they did want to bring Agatha to more, she was in the comics, more of like the crone that was a tutor,
right.
Wanda
Yep.
would have a reason to need her. And, with what happened with Multiverse of Madness, maybe Agatha uses the Darkhold or something, or maybe Mephisto or Teen does,
Now the
resurrects
rumor,
Wanda, and they work together to help raise Teen.
right? The rumor is that, um, so essentially Wanda sacrificed herself to destroy the Darkhold in every universe. But there's a possibility that she is now the Darkhold because the Darkhold is essentially tied to a person. The Darkhold is always tied to a person. First it was Agatha, then it was Wanda. Before Agatha, it was who knows, right?
I thought
And
Doctor
so
Strange had it now.
no, he doesn't have the Darkhold. Wanda destroyed all of them.
Okay.
Pretty positive. She destroyed all of them, and they were like she sacrificed herself to destroy that in every universe. And so everyone's like Wanda could be the Darkhold, or at least possess all of the knowledge of the Darkhold as well.
Okay.
And they could use that to stop Mephisto if that's what the overarching thing is. But as long as the one thing I don't want them to change, I'm fine if they do it. It's an essence of Nicholas Scratch. I'm fine with that. But I still want it to be Billy Kaplan. Like I think
Me
I think
too.
the name, for the namesake, I want it to be Billy Kaplan, but I don't necessarily care if it's the essence of Billy Maximoff or if it's the essence of Nicholas Scratch. That doesn't really bother me.
Yeah.
Much like the fact that Miss Marvel is a mutant instead of an Inhuman. I think that's okay.
Right.
We know that Inhumans exist out there. We also know that X-Men exist out there. So will Inhumans pop up? Probably. I mean, I think we'll probably get like Chloe Bennett as Quake at some point, maybe. False hope. But yeah, I don't mind the small iterations and changes and stuff. So
Yeah. I mean,
MCU is different than the
Echo
comics.
has
It should
actual
be.
like insane powers now
Right.
instead of
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
Like certain.
Just MCU should be different. It shouldn't be the exact same as the comic.
I would agree.
That's a
Just like
that's a
how
different
live
world.
action remakes of Disney movies should be different. They
Right.
shouldn't be
Yeah.
just a shot for shot remake. Just
Right.
like, yeah, the MCU should not be a shot for shot remake of a specific comic universe. Because then you're also blending, like, there's certain comic universes you change, and it's just, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
even, what's his name? The guy who played the new Captain America in the show in Winter Soldier.
Oh, John Walker.
Yeah, like they changed him up a bit too.
Right.
So there's certain,
Yeah, U.S. agent. Yeah.
yeah. Like I think they could change Billy Kaplan, Billy Maximoff, Nicholas Scratch. They could do any
Right.
combination, and I think I'm happy with it.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Especially because the show's been doing so well
Right.
already.
And
Number one
there's
thing
so
on
many.
Disney Plus.
You can look at it from the point of, like Spider-Man has a bunch of different runs, right? Where he starts and he does something different. Like he fights. There's a run where he like fights Venom first, or there's a run where he fights Green Goblin first, and like those I view as like just another universe. Like that happens in another universe of what we're watching right now.
Good job, honey. Good job. Give me a high five. All right. I'm recording right now, so could you go back upstairs and I'll give you a hug in a little bit. I love you.
Nice. Special episode this
Special episode.
guest.
Everybody,
Special
my
guest.
kid is potty training and she just pooped on the potty.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
Let's go.
You're still working on that, right?
I am, yeah. So she's gotten one in the potty today. Mine was definitely in my pants at work lifting a heavy box.
Right.
But
right.
that's regular.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I view everything as like a different, every run as like a different universe.
Yeah, me too.
So like like all of the Spider-Mans we've seen has just been a different run of a comic, essentially.
Correct. Yeah.
But it's just just that run is in live action. I guess that's how I kind of view it. So
right.
And
yeah. Sony's changing all their stuff. Everything.
Yeah.
Every Sony. Like
Sony,
way
like,
different. Madam Web's way different. Morbius
right.
way different.
Right. But Venom is for a couple weeks from now, but I'm very excited for that because Sony may have figured it out. Maybe.
My expectations are so low.
My expectations are low, but like,
yeah.
There's a chance.
The general public is not happy about the Venom horse. The comic nerds apparently love it, and then the general public is like, "This is what you have to resort to."
Something cool.
But yeah, I mean, however they change it, I'll be happy with it. Overall, the show's been super cool. We got some more music. It was just a new variation of the Witch's Road, but it was still good. Which we expected from this episode. I'm excited. I think next is going to be
divination or potions.
No, we already did potions.
We did potions. You're right.
So I think divination is next because they focused a lot on. This is one of the main questions I wanted to ask you. Do you think she has like dissociative identity disorder, or do you think she's possessed?
I don't think. Well, she's very susceptible to something.
Right, like she could
because
be
her outbursts are also like situational,
right?
And they're her outbursts are also like in the moment, and they're like in the moment, and they're relative to what's going on. Like it's relative to what's going on, so it's not like it's random.
Right, they seem to be like advice. So it's almost like because she, divination, she's divining from spirits.
Sure.
She could be channeling, guardian angels, muses, whatever you want to call it. So I originally I was like, she either, I don't think they're gonna go with like something simple. In this world, dissociative identity disorder would be simple. I think they're going more so with the like
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
she's
I don't think it's
divining a
necessarily
ghost.
DID, because that's that Moon Knight, right? So I don't know if they like double up
Right.
with that. I think it's just she is magically inclined,
Hmm.
and she's probably susceptible to some kind of message
Right. But
um,
she
in the
specifically
moment.
said that we communicate. She hates the fact that people think witches communicate with ghosts.
Oh, sure.
She said, I hate that people think we have multiple nipples. People hate that we
Then
communicate.
Aubrey Plaza was like, "I have multiple nipples. You guys want to see?"
You guys want to see?
Yeah,
um,
that's funny.
but then she's like, and I hate that people think that we communicate with ghosts. So maybe she is communicating with them and doesn't realize she is because she's confused every time people are like, "What did you say?" And she's like, "What do you mean?" So
I'd
maybe
have
she
to go back
does.
before the finale. I'm gonna go back and see those outbursts because I wonder if they are actually like someone tied to that person. Because this one was obviously like her mother or something, like I can't save you or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Um, and then and then said, and then the second one she was like, "Save Agatha."
In the first, yeah, she said,
The
"Save
first one she's like,
Agatha."
"Save Agatha," and she's like, "I think that's a great idea." So maybe that was Rio. Um,
Make
uh,
sure Agatha
there's Hammy
survives or
Boy.
something like
Hammy
that.
Boy. Hammy
She's
Boy's in the
definitely
shot.
divining some sort of
Right.
communication.
Yeah, and I have to go see the very first one when she was in her like apartment thing with Teen and Agatha.
Yeah,
I'd have to see what she said back then and if it could possibly be tied to Teen or Agatha at that moment.
I hope she's next so that we can just clarify it. They
Right.
focused a lot on it, so I can't help but feel like obviously
Right.
they could go with like Aubrey Plaza's trial, Rio's trial, but
No, I think that'll be
that's
later.
yeah, that's they're
That
building up
that's
to
got to
that.
be, yeah.
So I think divination is next. Which we did this last time. Let me look it up this time. What is Agatha All Along episode 5 title?
Oh,
To be
no.
announced.
That's a dumb title.
Come on. You gave away the last one already. Where was this one? Yeah. They last time it was already announced. It hasn't been announced yet. All the rest of the
Yeah.
episodes are to be announced.
Right.
So they don't now they got you hooked. They don't want to give it
Right.
away.
Yeah. Now they got a little bit for
um
sure.
there's a side thing with Joe Locke. The apparently he's in a show where he's in a relationship with a guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Um
God, I forget the name. I want to say like Heartthrobs, but that's not right.
but the person that he's in a relationship with, they asked him if
Oh yeah,
he
about
would be
Hulkling.
Hulkling.
Right. I
And
saw
Joe
that.
Locke was like, they both were like, I think the world doesn't want us to be this in everything
Right.
together.
Sure.
So I thought that was interesting, especially because that just shows people are like, this has to be Billy Kaplan. We want him to be Billy Kaplan, and
Right.
we if we have Billy, just like we said in episode 1 when we talked about it, if you have Billy Kaplan, you have to have Hulkling. Like
Yeah. Eventually.
they
Yeah.
are a couple that is important to the future of the if they're in the character if they're in a universe, they need to be a focus because
Right.
they're very powerful, but they also make a lot of important decisions
Right.
together,
Sure.
both earthly, spiritual. Like they're impactful, so I feel like
Right.
it's super important.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this episode was really good. You saw it before I did, and you said I was gonna like it, and I'll see why. Is it because Aubrey Plaza?
Yeah. It
Okay.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to
Yeah.
clarify to people, it's not like I'm obsessed with her. Um,
It's just that I'm obsessed.
It's just that I think she is like very pretty, very funny, and very talented. That describes every person on this show.
Right.
Every single character in this show is pretty,
And this
and
podcast.
talented. Like, yeah, and both of us on this podcast. Very funny, moderately pretty, not very talented. um, I messed up already. Now that I'm thinking
Okay.
about it, I wanted to open this episode with this, but I do want to remind people, especially for those listening, I do want you to like and subscribe because, you know, it's very easy. It's one click for each. Maybe you have to 2 clicks. If you have to pick one or the other, I highly recommend the subscribe button. You know,
Then you
like's
can
fine
like
too.
one later.
Yeah, then you can like the next one or dislike. Especially because if you think that we're being sexist by saying that they were all hot, you can dislike it. But I'm just saying they all looked good. They were all great, and I really enjoyed this episode. The trial was more boring than the first one, but
Sure.
the story building beyond, like the trial, when the trial was over, there was still 15 minutes left of the episode.
Right.
That's how I was like, yeah, this isn't about the trial. Like, this episode's not about the trial. This is about
Sure.
what happened with Rio and Agatha. This is what's going on with Teen, and this is like showing that the potions is getting stronger, divination is connecting, the blood witch, they're all like moving forward. And then obviously, like divination told Rio, don't think I forgot about what you said in that room.
Sure.
It's about the external overarching story was the focus this episode, even if it wasn't what took up the majority
Right.
of the
And the
time.
fact that potions did a little bit of magic, even though she was kind of she kind of lost her powers, but she whipped up that potion right and cast a spell and it worked. So
chanting in Latin.
right.
Yeah. So, you know, I liked it. I hope you guys liked it. If you for those watching it, what do you expect from the future? Do you think they're going to do a combination of Nicholas Scratch and Billy Maximoff? I think that's kind of like, or Billy Kaplan. I think that's kind of the main thought. With the side question of what do you think Rio did with Agatha? I am gonna stick
In
with
extreme detail.
in extreme graphic detail. Please put it in the comments. Would love to read that late at night. And I still am sticking to my guns that Agatha and Rio gave the soul to Mephisto, which hurt Agatha, but she was doing
Right.
it.
What I think is first off, I just want to mention this. I don't think, for those of you that are familiar with the comics, Thanos was trying to wipe out half of the population to win over Lady Death. And she basically was like, no. So yeah, I don't think that happened or is going to happen. But what I think is going to happen in this show is I think that Agatha feels betrayed by her. And so what I think happened is that I think Mephisto, they got to the end of the road and Mephisto was like, you have to sacrifice your son for the Darkhold if that's what you want. And Agatha was like, or Rio had to do it. Rio had to do it, and she decided to either sacrifice herself or something else. But internally, I think Agatha thinks she crossed her, but I think Rio crossed him.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think is gonna happen. Like, I think Agatha thinks that Rio screwed her over, but I think Rio actually did probably protect her a little bit in some way, shape, or form, but that she doesn't know about. That's kind of how I feel is going to happen. So
yeah. So each one has a good motive, bad decision sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. A secret that they don't know about. So
for sure. Nice. Well, yeah, let us know what you think. We'll see you next week for the episode 5 to be announced episode, which is most likely going to be the divination episode. And again, like, subscribe, do all the things because not because you have a choice, but because you have to. You look great today. GG.
GG. Oh.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. Have no regrets, yeah, I'm tired of my chest.